Hello everybody, we're back in the US and now I'd like to show you our little summer project which you see behind me, which is a 1993 Puch 230 GE. And so without further ado, let's get cracking, look for a nice location where I can do a little walk around. It'll be shorter than the Unimog because there's much less to show, and we've already started with the conversion to a camper, and I'll show you where we're at and what we got in plan, so follow me along. Okay, now let's take a look. So now we found hopefully a quiet spot to show you our Puch a little bit more in detail. As I mentioned, it's a 1993 Puch 230 GE. For those who don't know Puch, it's actually built on the same platform or manufacturing line as the Mercedes GWagon. And this is a vehicle from the Swiss Army. It was sold at surplus. There are a couple of things that are really special about it. As you can see, it's much higher than your usual GWagon, even the closed one. So it's based on the long wheel convertible version of the GWagon, but it has a high hardtop in it, and there used to be shelving in there, a seat, and a desk. I'll show you that on the photos. Actually, now. So now that you've seen how it looked on the inside before what we took out, let's actually take a look under the hood first. I'll pop it real quick. So one thing that's really cool, and some of you may know it, is obviously, you can tilt this up like in any car, but if you really want to work in the car, it's not optimal because you'll bump your head a number of times until you've learned it. with the G-Wagons and some other Mercedes, you can do something that's really neat. You just lift it up, and you have the whole entire engine bay completely accessible. So what we have here is pretty much your, average Mercedes 2.3 liter gasoline engine. And actually, so if you come around a little here, you can even see the star on, cylinder head case. But so it's all Mercedes. All the part numbers are Mercedes. So what's different to the regular civilian 230 GE? It's 24 volt. So we have two batteries here. This makes part sourcing a little bit harder, but it's not a big thing because a lot of military vehicles have 24 volt. The engine management system is actually 12 volt, like in the original, and then there's a step-down converter somewhere to take it from 24 to 12 volts on there. Otherwise, as I mentioned, then the other thing is it doesn't have electronic distribution, I think, but it has a shielded distributor because if there's a nuclear explosion, a lot of the electronics won't work, and so the military has a shielded one with shielded wires. So they're a little more expensive to replace if you have to, and if moisture creeps in, it'll never creep out, so people have troubles with that. But so far we've had a tune-up after we picked it up, and it's been running very, very nicely. It's obviously a very heavy vehicle, so with the equipment in, it was rated at 2.6 metric tons, and I think horsepowers are somewhat in the 120, 128 range, so the power to weight ratio is really glacial, I want to say. So we took a lot of weight out, as you saw in the pictures. My estimate is probably around 600 pounds or more, so it was a lot more lively afterwards. But, it's a cruiser, not a racer. So let's close that again. And let's look inside. So in here, it looks like, yes, the old G-Class, speedometer, no tack, oil, water temperature, and gas. It doesn't have a whole lot of things that can break, which is a really good thing. The Swiss Army vehicles all come with a 4-speed automatic, as you can see here, floor mounted there. And then we've got the 4-wheel drive system, so it's standard in rear-wheel drive, and then I can take it up into Straße Allrad, meaning street all-wheel drive, which engages the front wheel traction, and then you have a low range, then you take it up in GA, which is Gelände Allrad, meaning off-road 4-wheel drive. And then here, down there, I don't know if you can see that, is a switch for the front locking differential, rear locking differential, because this one, unlike some of the other G-Wagons, only has one axle to be locked, but the front locking differential, as I mentioned in our Unimog, is something that you really very rarely will engage. So I think for what we're trying to do, it's way good enough. It'll has a little bit of clearance if you want to go some slight off-road camping, but we're not going to go on the Rubicon Trail with this, very likely, but we'll find out. Manual cranks, so not a whole lot of electrics or electronics to go around. This one, ours has 44,000 kilometers on it, and the Swiss Army, as you can see, took really, really good care of this vehicle, like they do in a lot of other vehicles. So it's in very, very good shape. One thing that's special in the military vehicles, and some of those that have driven or owned military vehicles will know this. This is a plug to actually put external power to it, and this is the main plug which completely shuts down all electrics. So right now, if I turn on the ignition, nothing will happen because I've got the electrics completely shut off, which is really good when you want to leave the vehicle parked for a longer time. You will have full batteries at the end. So I think this is, from a driver perspective, pretty much everything that there is need to know. What's really nice is you got a little box here to put some stuff. Right now we have our camera equipment there to clean the paint, so when we have the suction cup for the GoPro. But otherwise, this is pretty much it, I want to say. And then let's go to the interesting part. Let's go to the back. So in the back here you can see here we got a holder for I think 20-liter jerry can, so for gas or for water. Usually it's for gas. And you can see here the manufacturer, Steyr Daimler Puch, which is the one that manufactures the GWagon. And this hardtop came from a Swiss company, Carrosserie Langenthal. And so what I've read, there were only 100 made with this, tall hardtop, but I don't have the confirmed numbers on it. But I've really not seen these around very much, so they're fairly rare. And we thought they make a good base for a small camper conversion to kind of, kill the time until our Unimog is there, so we can take them on one or two small trips before we have the Unimog here in the States, and just have some fun in building out our Puch. So one thing that I already did convert is there used to be a military trailer hitch here, and I converted that one to the European one. It still has 24 volts coming out here, so I have an adapter or a transformer for that. But now we can actually pull something which will make the power to weight ratio even more horrendous, but what the heck. As you can see, we've already put the flooring in there with some insulation underneath and some plywood, and then this vinyl hardwood looking stuff there, so that this part is all done. And our next step is going to be building the furniture for the inside. So as I mentioned, we're going to convert this to a camper. So we're going to have an L-shaped bench here, a little sink and kitchen portion, but we will not have a stove because we'll use a gas stove that we can take outside, a little portable thingy that we already bought. And instead of having a table on the inside, we're going to have storage up here for an outside table that we're going to make. And the idea is that this outside table will fit in really nice or perfectly in here to create a level sleeping area. So we take the table and the cushion here, put the table without the legs, flat between the kitchen area and the bench, and we'll have an almost queen size, sleeping area for the two of us. We'll have space for an electric ice box there that we already bought that we're going to use in the Unimog to put between the two seats, but this is going to go in here. And this is pretty much skylight up here. We're probably going to cut that out. We have one window here. We'll leave the blinds from the Swiss Army in for the time being, because they're going to be really light, sealing out the light. And that's pretty much our room tour for today. Did I forget anything?
You forgot the cool little flap that we're not knowing what to do with just yet.
This one, yeah. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it's for. And we don't know yet what to do with it. So I imagine, because the desk was here, as you saw from the pictures, the chair for the commander or for the the person who was working at the desk was here. So my estimation is that this flap was used to just exchange things from inside to outside without having to open the door. In the winter in Switzerland, it'll be very frigid, and you don't want the entire warm air escaping, or maybe light. So you've got this little flap. So we are not sure, do we just close it out, do we integrate it somehow, or do we kind of just put something over it and call it a day? Because there's a lot of rivets in there, and I remember from taking the interior out that I think I went through 8 or 10 drills drilling out all the rivets. They're ultra strong, and it was not pleasant, so we're probably going to leave it in there somehow. But I think that's it. So then the material is on the way to make the build inside, and so I hope you'll join us to the next video, how we slowly but surely convert this Puch to a camper, so that in September we're ready for our first camping trip, and between Sibylle, Wilbur, and I to enjoy this build ourselves. Okie doke. See you later. Or actually, yep, follow me out. Go home. Okay, let's go. As usual, I did forget something. how does it drive? So let's find out. No, I mean, in reality, just as I mentioned, it's not very fast, but it really handles well. It's not, you know, top heavy by any means. I mean, it's really, you know, simple and easy to drive. And it's got power steering. It only has disc brakes in the front, but so far I haven't had any experience or issues with, you know, brake fading or so. I mean, it's really, you know, it's a Mercedes after all, so it drives really, really good. So I'm really looking forward to see how it drives on a long journey. And what's really, really nice are the two little indicator awards on the fenders in the front. That's kind of the iconic G-Class look and feel. A lot of crosswind right now, but we will get a different microphone for the GoPro in the future, but right now it's on back order, so you're going to have to bear with us on that. So we're driving 70 kilometers an hour on a 25-mile road, so it's good for cruising, but it's lovely. But yeah, we're going to head home, and I think the next things that I'm going to show you are our conversion to the LED headlights that we've got in stock. So I hope that one works well. So let's see you then. Bye-bye.